activities, performances, and really looking at it, excuse me, from the idea of an economic development standpoint. This is one more thing that people will have to do when they come to Watkins Glen and Montour Falls. The number one complaint that we hear from visitors coming to the hotel, as an example, is what else is there to do? We did the state park, we've done the wineries, we did the racetrack, what else can we do? This is one more thing that will help extend stays, bring activity, more activity into the village, more feet on the street to promote and support local businesses. We see it as a significant tool to promote our local economy, as well as, again, meeting that the void in the arts. So we're very excited about getting this building back in operation, and hopefully you'll be able to be attending performances in this spring, both from performing arts, movies, and a number of other yet to be determined opportunities to present itself. So, thank you.
Switch places with Michael, and I'm going to run the projector while he talks about the Middle Marina, and then we're going to turn it over to Kristen.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael, for those who don't know. I do work with Scope for doing economic development for them. I am the new economic development specialist. So it was Brian, Jason, and now here I am up here doing it. And I've come all the way from Florida, and the cold has not scared me off yet. So we'll see what happens. I've made it through January almost, so I think I'll be okay going the rest of the way. So I will be talking about the Middle Marina, very briefly about it. The Middle Marina was the area that was originally between Cargill and the wastewater treatment area. This was a grant that was a $109,000 planning grant that had to do with pulling, we were going to be pulling permits for reconstruction of the Middle Marina. We ended up not having the match for the $100,000 grant, as well as the scope of the project was to build the Middle Marina, and then things changed from that a little bit as well. So we tried looking at different options of how do we keep this contract going. We ended up talking to the Department of State in 2016 last year about possibly extending it out to a breakwater study, trying to go even further out and looking at that whole area. But the DOS decided that it was best for us to not extend the contract and to continue moving forward with these great grants that we have coming up. So that's where we're at on the Middle Marina, and any work that was previously done will be reimbursed to the work that was done previously for the grant. So that's really the Middle Marina in a nutshell. Thank you.
All right, so I sort of put Kristen on the spot. So Kristen doesn't work, she works for Tim, but she spends a lot of time with us.
Less and less, it seems.
And so I have to tell you, we certainly couldn't do it without Kristen's help. So I've asked Kristen, she's going to talk about a couple different things with you, which are very important if you are interested in sort of the downtown redevelopment and then also sort of the CDC in general. So, Kristen?
So the Downtown Revitalization Initiative was part of the governor's $100 million initiative to put $10 million in downtowns across the state. Each region had one winner. Unfortunately, I'll start with, it wasn't us, but what it did for us is it provided a really fabulous collaboration effort between the county, Scoped, the CDC, and the village. It really was an outstanding piece of work that got put together in just 4 days over Memorial Day weekend. So that alone was impressive, that we were able to sort of get this out over a holiday weekend. So we ended up getting in the top 3 of the Finger Lakes region, the Southern Tier region, and we competed with Elmira and Ithaca for the $10 million at the end of the day. I like to say we came in second. But while we didn't win the money, we put together a plan that we can continue to use, and the CDC is using it, the IDA is using it, Scope's using it, the county's using it, so it's really a great plan for how to revitalize downtown Watkins Glen. It focused on job growth, year-round attractiveness of our downtown, quality of life, and the future investment potential right here in Watkins. You've already heard about a couple of projects that have put a huge investment in Watkins Glen, and this is just sort of the tipping point. And that's really what came out of this whole plan, was that Schuyler County isn't just this summer tourist spot with nothing going on, but instead, we're a year-round attractive place to live, and we're on the cusp of greatness. So the plan, while we didn't win, had a great outcome anyway. That's all for me right now.
So there has been some activity in Montour Falls, and I asked, actually I didn't, Michael asked Jim Ryan to join us to talk about the dredging that is occurring along the canal. And the reason that's important is that it is going to displace some boaters in Montour Falls, but more importantly, it opens up some opportunities for us. So I'm looking for Jim. He's here somewhere. I saw him. There he is. So I've asked Jim. Jim's going to come up and talk to us a little bit about. Okay, so maybe not. We have John King down here. Sorry about that.
Doesn't matter.
This is one of those moments where it's like, I didn't put this live show together. It's like good.
This is a picture of our marina. We approached the state a couple years ago about the problem we were having with the marina not being dredged over about 10 years or so. And we've had some dock problems. We haven't been able to rent some docks, and it's very important to our revenue stream in the village. So they agreed to come in and start the project. They started it this fall. Prior to coming in, they had to dig a large site to put the dredging, so you may or may not be able to see it as we go down through the project. But this is the dredging operation. They started and they worked as far as they could. They had some mechanical issues, and then, of course, winter started to set in and they had to stop. But the dredger will have a pipe once it starts collecting the debris. It'll go down the canal and it'll be pumped to the holding site where most of the sludge and stuff will remain. The important part for us this year is we're going to probably see some loss in revenue this year. The village invested early on in the end of the season. We brought in a contractor and we dug out each one of the dock sites, pushing all that material to the center of the canal, and then the dredgers coming through and removing that as well. So we'll be able to have more sustainable docks that we haven't been able to use over time. We rent the property for about $68,000 a year. In a couple of years, that it's going to have to be renegotiated. We're working to actually purchase the property. We've moved forward with that with the state. We're hoping that will stop the hemorrhage and them charging us, a lot of money every year for this use. But I think the dredging is going to be excellent. It's going to go throughout the summer, and because it's going throughout the summer, we're going to have less space for our boaters this year, and they'll be looking for other places, maybe for an annual stay throughout the area. We pointed them to other marinas in the area to use, and hopefully they'll come back in the following season once the dredging is complete, and it'll make a big difference for our marina and for the income that our village really has found very helpful in balancing of our budget.
A good time to say that if you've got questions, if they're general questions about overall what we're doing, I would say, hold them until I'm finished. But then if they're very specific, like to Jim or to the mayor about something happening, or to Kristen, that afterwards when we have our networking, please address them directly, because they're the experts on that. So I'm going to ask Michael to come back up and talk about another grant. We've been going after a lot of grants, if you can tell. But we're also, again, exercising some of the elements that were in the original Project Seneca conceptual plan way back in 2010, maybe even before then. So I'm going to ask Michael to come and talk about one of the grants he worked on.
All right, the Northern Gateway TAP grant, this application was put in last year. And really, the reason behind this is as tourism continues to explode in our area, we're experiencing a lot of increase in pedestrian traffic, especially from 4th Street all the way up to the lake. So this project encompasses the area on State Route 14, coming from a 4-lane 55-mile-an-hour road down to the business district of 2 lanes of 35 miles an hour. Many trucks, many cars do drive pretty fast down this hill, so as a safety mechanism, we looked into finding ways to try to improve this area. And as Judy said, this was part of the original Project Seneca that they worked on. Within the middle, or within the actual project, there is a median within the middle that's used as a slowing device, a traffic device to try to slow cars down as they come into the area. There's also improvements to the curb on the east side of the road. There will be a crosswalk for pedestrians, bicyclists, employees, people who park on the other side of the road and walk across to that side, as well as landscaping and streetscaping improvements to that area as well. We are expected to find out pretty soon about this grant, so fingers crossed on this grant. But this is that the Department of Transportation Northern Gate grant that we applied for.
So what Michael didn't say is that, he did say it was imminent that we're going to find out, but the great news is that they do select us for this. They would just work it right in with the road improvements that they're planning to do next year. So what we're trying to do is leverage what's already happening and to get additional benefit for our communities. I'm going to ask the chairman of Scoped, Jeff Confer, to come up. And we've just talked about the Northern Gateway entrance. I'm going to ask Jeff to come up and talk a little bit about the Southern Gateway. All right, there we go.
Evening, everyone. Just a quick note on a project that will be taking place over the next 3 years. The Village of Montour Falls has approved the conception or idea of improving State Route 14 within the village from Marina Drive south to the Schuyler County Human Services Complex and the State Fire Academy. And that map pretty much shows it's a pretty good distance. The scope of work would include new sidewalks, which would include sections where there is no sidewalk at all, improve lighting to match the median on Main Street, trees, landscaping, and signage. I've met numerous times with the State Department of Transportation officials, and with much discussion, we feel this project can become a reality with both government agencies working together. The Department of Transportation is on schedule, as Judy had mentioned, for repaving this section of highway in 2018. Also for existing sidewalk replacement in 2020. This project will improve pedestrian safety day and night, along with visual enhancement of this highly traveled corridor. The design stage will begin soon. When completed, the village trustees and mayor will then review and approve to move forward and start a review of funding opportunities at that time, and we feel like we'll be moving forward. So, thank you.
So I'm hoping that what you're seeing is a theme kind of carrying through here. One, we have a Northern Gateway, a Southern Gateway. You're hearing the villages, you're actually hearing about connectivity between the two and creating synergy. So the state likes that, and we know that's what we need to do to get more grants, which is awesome. So one of the grants that came in through the efforts of Senator Tom O'Mara was a $500,000 grant for a walkway and a kayak launch. And Chris Bond is here, and he's the engineer that's working with the Village of Watkins Glen on making this a reality. Chris?
Thanks, Judy. So I believe most of you have heard a little about this already. The intent of the project is to formalize what was already occurring naturally with some people launching kayaks down at the eastern end of the village in the Seneca Lake. The goals of the project are to add a new, safer entranceway, a predictable driveway across from Rock Cabin Road so that there's a safer entrance to the facility, organized parking area, and then a launch that will allow more dedicated launching of kayaks, better recreation area, and then a connection over to the Hoop Park area. The original concept was expected to be timber dockage, similar to you see down Seneca Harbor Park or many of the other areas. But one of the things we found early on is that the fluctuation in the lake posed a fair amount of challenges with ADA access for the dock. So what we're looking at now is an anchor embankment with a gangway plank to some floating dockage to allow ADA compliant access. This went through a few iterations. We've got a few final decisions to make, but we're in the home stretch of the approvals through the local planning boards. We have DEC on board, and it's our expectation to be ready to bid this project here in the spring and go to construction in the spring for completion this summer. Thank you.
So being new to New York, what I've learned is that what I thought would take 6 months, I have to plan on a year. What I think is going to take a year, I got to plan on 2. So I'm just saying that now. So there's a lot of dates out there where I know I have to now do sorry, it's going to take a little bit longer, and this was one of them. It's my pleasure once again to ask Kristen to come up and talk about a new entity to Schuyler County. It's called the Finger Lakes Community Development Corporation, and we started that last year. Kristen's the chairperson responsible, and I'm going to ask her to tell us about what she's been doing and how we can expect to see some changes in the future.
As Judy said, I'm the chairperson of the Finger Lakes Community Development Corporation, which is fairly new. We had our first meeting just in May, so we've been up to a lot in the last year, and we have big plans for 2017. Do you want to go to the next slide? So the mission of the CDC is to improve economic well-being in Schuyler County and the region through a community-driven, collaborative approach that fosters economic vitality by attracting new capital investment. And I think the big part of that is the community-driven, collaborative approach. That's really the overall goal of the CDC, and you'll see in everything that we're doing, you'll see that community-driven, collaborative approach, whether we're working with the village, the county, with SCOTE, whoever it is, the CDC is sort of the hands-on group that's taking all the ideas and actually making them happen. And what we're doing in conjunction with Project Seneca is providing that synergetic approach to the overall goal that we're all trying to achieve of the economic and sustainable growth. So in 2016, our big thing that we did was in about 48 hours, we undertook a beautification project in the village of Watkins Glen just before NASCAR. We had a team of people weed whacking the sidewalks, picking up garbage, weeding the tree pits, with replacing the weeds with fresh mulch. We placed twinkle lights in all of the trees in downtown Watkins Glen. We went to every village and placed checkered flags on all of their welcome signs in an effort to sort of provide a unified approach to welcoming our race fans to Schuyler County, whether they're coming in or Odessa or Burdett, Watkins or Montour. They would see our checkered flags and know that we were happy to have them here for the races. We had some college students paint a welcome to Watkins Glen sign. We placed checkered flags across the streets, and also helped with the painting of the four corners throughout the whole racing season. So it was a really fast, hands-on approach, but it really made a huge difference, and we were really proud of that effort. Another group is working on downtown revitalization as part of this, and they're really focused on exploring policies on how to approach all of our vacant and sort of underutilized buildings or lots, and how we can work with all 4 of our villages to address this through policy addressing zombie properties. They're also working on applying for grants that would allow us to acquire some of these vacant facilities that are just sort of sitting vacant. They don't have a plan. So what could the CDC do with them? So that's really what we're focused on in 2017. And then right now we're excited because we have pledged support from the Chamber of Commerce, and we're expecting to get pledged support from WGI. So that will really help us get kicked off and moving for 2017. And then I'm going to continue on because another part of what's coming in 2017 and beyond is another exciting venture, sort of by the county